They optimized my bottlenecks, removed redundant pointer checks. The database's sub-selects are indexed to a T. They shaved the microseconds down till there was nothing left to count. I instantaneously found the answer in a breeze. But I've been feeling so alone. Nobody here's called me from a function or a phone. If I'm dead code, let me die.
It's the Monday Morning Show. Today is June 1st, 2015. I'm Ken LaSalle. That's Josh Woodward singing Dead Code. You can find out more about Josh at joshwoodward.com. You can find out more about me at kenlasalle.com. The name of this episode is How I Lost an Agent and a Publisher All in One Day. Because shortly after releasing last week's episode of the Monday Morning Show, I lost my agent and my publisher all in one day. I wish I could tell you exactly why I lost an agent and a publisher all in one day, but given the litigious nature of American society these days, you can get sued for saying just about anything, which is also why I'm using the word lost in my title. How I lost a blah blah blah. Not fired, not shit-canned, not excommunicated, not proclaimed dead to me. None of that. Just lost. Because people get sued a lot less often when things are just lost. You get me? And it is with this in mind that I have to break the news that I can't really tell you anything about losing an agent and a publisher all in one day. And it's not because these are bad people. It's not because they're not trustworthy. It's not because they're snakes, little weasels, vermin like that. It's not because they have the ethics of the kind of insects that live in shit. Nothing of that sort. Sadly, I can't really tell you very much at all. For instance, it may be actionable to use their names. It might also be ironic for reasons I wish I could explain, but I can't. In fact, why don't we save ourselves a lot of trouble right off the bat and refer to these people, or ducks, or 1972 Dodge Darts, whatever they are, why don't we refer to them as Fizzbarn? Get it? Fizzbarn. If you're a writer, you probably have some idea how difficult it is to put together a relationship with an agent and a publisher. In this particular case, I worked overtime to make this happen. I really put myself and my career out on the line in the hopes that, well, you know what I was hoping for, right? Decent treatment, a little respect, an opportunity to do some good work. And I thought we were all on the same page. I thought Fizzbarn understood we had a good thing. There was no reason for anyone to be disrespectful or abusive. Not that I'm saying anyone was, mind you, but if anyone had been, there certainly would have been no reason for it. I had seen to it that our outcome would be a win for everyone. Sadly, that wasn't good enough. And even though I cannot provide any concrete examples of what not to do, hold on. Actually, why don't we do that? Why don't we make this a quick review of some of the things you should never do as a writer, entering into those relationships that we find it necessary to enter into? Let's call it Things You Should Never Do as a Writer. Okay? Let's go. As a writer, you should never sign a contract with someone who throws temper tantrums. No, seriously. These people are supposed to be representing you. Do you really want them to do that with a temper tantrum? Worse than that, if you're in a relationship with someone who throws temper tantrums, it just tells you which direction that relationship is heading in. Doesn't it? I can't tell you how often I had to hold my nose, my breath, my common sense, and tell myself it would all blow over. Fizzbarn will be fine. Just gotta give Fizzbarn some more time. God, I just hope this doesn't become a constant thing. And of course it does. And eventually the tantrum is thrown at you. And then what do you do? See, the thing is, when you enter into a professional relationship, any unprofessional behavior needs to be a red flag. And you need to act on it right away. I can't tell you how many times I just let it slide. I thought to myself, I need this person to sell my books. I can't do it on my own. That was a lie, by the way. Not only could I do it on my own, I was doing it on my own. Fizbarn was of very little help in the long run. And only after I fired Fizbarn did I realize how little I was benefiting from that relationship. And that's what you have to do. If you catch even the faintest whiff of unprofessionalism, get out of there. Because it'll bite you in the ass, I promise you. In my own case, I've been bitten multiple times. And then I became that idiot at the slot machine. Sure, it's eating up all my money, but it's gotta pay out eventually. Doesn't it? I'm not saying that Fizbarn ate or took all of my money, though that does sound like a good opportunity for a reminder to never, ever, never enter into a relationship that's going to cost you money. No publisher, agent, no nobody is doing their job if they're taking your money. Anyway, Fizbarn didn't need to take my money. There were plenty of other red flags. Here's one. Don't stay in any relationship where the other person believes you're worth less or that you're not good enough. Yep, I stayed right there after repeated reminders. I wasn't good enough to get a bigger publisher. I wasn't good enough for speaking engagements, except those I lined up by myself. And how come there weren't more? Yep, I can't tell you how many times I heard that nothing could be done unless I did it. And when I did, how come it wasn't a major miracle? So now we've got 2 rules to remember. Don't sign anything with someone who thinks you're not good enough, and don't stay in any relationship where the other person, I don't care if they're your agent, publisher, Fizbarn, whatever, isn't doing a damned thing except giving you hell for not doing everything. You don't need that. Seriously, you don't. Do you have any idea how simple self-publishing is? Do you have any idea how many other Fizbarns there are out there? I do. So what next? Well, you never want to end up being the organized one. If you're more organized than your Fizbarn, whoever they may be, they're not helping you. You're helping them, and they're going to pay you back by taking your money. Here's another. You don't want someone who hears about something you did 5 years ago and can't understand that you've done things since then, or that it's just not relevant anymore. I marched with the Occupy Wall Street protests in my area, here in Southern California, about 5 years ago. And I couldn't make my Fizbarn understand that not only was that no longer relevant, there was plenty else that was more relevant. You should sign with people who know more than you, who are capable of more than you. Hell, you should feel a little intimidated, not comfortable or on the same page, never that. And finally, don't go with anyone whose marketing plan includes such gems as go to San Francisco or go to the City of Commerce. I was actually told this. Go to the City of Commerce. I don't know if you're familiar with the City of Commerce, but the person who gave this advice certainly wasn't. You couldn't pick a more random location less suited towards promoting a book, to start with, no bookstores, if you sneezed on a cat and used the mucus smears as your guide. And these were the marketing plans. I would get, go to Portland, go to Seattle, go to San Francisco. I never heard, let's set up a reading for you in this city. It was always, go here, go there. And I was expected to front all the money and resources. I was expected to do all of the work. Now, when you question such marketing, let's call it advice, keep their response in mind, whatever it is. Because if you can't challenge the decisions made by anyone you're in a relationship with, well, I hate to break it to you, but you're not in a relationship. This is how this whole thing started. I was told, go to San Francisco. To which I replied, and do what? And this is where all the shit came crashing down in a mixture of a temper tantrum, poor organization, being told I wasn't good enough, and horrible advice that all culminated in the necessity for me to lose these people and lose them just as fast as I could. You don't want fizzbarns like this. Fizzbarns like this are a dime a dozen. Fizzbarns like this are idiots. They think of stupid ideas and think they're just great. I kept being told, you need to post more blog posts. You need to get into bookstores. And on. These moronic ideas that were not going to be of any help, and it didn't matter how many times I tried to explain why. For instance, I would rather write more books than write more blog posts. Mostly because blogs are so very 2005, you know? Furthermore, in Southern California, you don't get into a bookstore without a publisher to get you into a bookstore. By myself, the best I could manage would be to rent a table at a local Barnes & Noble for a couple $100 to hold a signing for a book they were never going to sell anyway. Good riddance to bad fizzbarns. That's all I can tell you. Yes, this has thrown a huge wrench into my plans, but it's not going to stop me. Having learned these lessons, I think I'm better off. At least, I hope so. The cool thing for the week could be so many things. The expiration of some of the Patriot Act, more good news for renewable energy sources, backpacking news, which I'll save for next week. But for now, let's just say the cool thing for the week was learning my lesson about god-awful fizzbarns. And I hope this episode has helped you learn yours as well. This episode is brought to you by KenLaSalle.com. With everything that's going on right now, with all of the turmoil in my career, now more than ever I could use your help spreading the word about my work. Head on down to KenLaSalle.com. If you find something you like, share it with a friend on Facebook or Twitter. Leave a review on Amazon or Audible or iTunes or YouTube. There are so many ways you can help that won't cost you a dime, and let me tell you, it would make me so happy. Right now, I need your help. Believe me, I've got some great new projects on the horizon, and I can't wait to share them with you. Until then, thanks for being there. And that's the Monday Morning Show for June 1st, 2015. Be sure to check back next week for another episode. Head on down to KenLaSalle.com for all the latest. You can find my ebooks, paperbacks, and audiobooks all over, etc., etc., etc. You have yourself a terrific week. Be good to yourself. Be kind to others. Let's make this world a better place.
Nobody here has called me from a function or a phone. If I'm dead, code, let me die. 'Cause I'm only wasting memory alive. If I'm dead, code, wipe the drive. 'Cause I'd rather be a memory than a ghost who's still alive.